I think I've really went through a time where I really got to experience many different vices like smoking, vaping, drinking, and even premarital sex itself. So it's like a game. So then I had like two decisions to make. Like decision A is to punch him and then go to detention barracks and then delay my army for I don't know how many months. Or like decision B, which is to scream for help. My life motto at that point of time after leaving God was an eye for an eye. So what you do to me, I'll do it double to you. I was born a Christian, second generation Christian, but then of course my faith wasn't really faith. It was really more towards like physical things or even friendship itself. I also had a relationship with a girl. I broke up with her because she said she wanted to study, and then afterwards she got together with my best friend. So because of that, it kind of hurt me very badly, and to want to seek revenge in the midst of that. Afterwards, I climbed the social ladder, became one of the most popular kid in the whole school. Everybody knows me, but I don't know everybody. We have a lot of authority over the whole school population. And we use that to spread rumors, we use that to ruin people's lives, etc. etc. I specifically used that against my ex-girlfriend to take revenge for what she has kind of done to me. Yeah, I spread the rumor and everybody believed. And at the end of secondary school, no one wanted to be a friend. So it was quite terrible for her at the end of it. And because of that, I regret it. I didn't want to be manipulative or anymore. I didn't want to be in a leadership position anymore because of what I've done. The surprising thing is I thought I left God, but there's just that weird feeling that I felt that like, oh, sharks, I've done something wrong. I've wronged my friend. I've wronged my ex-girlfriend. Why did I need to do this? Moving forward in Polytechnic, during orientation, I kind of met another girl. And then afterwards, 6 months later, through the relationship, I think I've really went through a time where I really got to experience many different vices like smoking, vaping, drinking, and even premarital sex itself. The reason that she gave me when we broke up was actually she don't really trust me. So I asked, if you don't really trust me at all in this whole relationship, like how much do you really trust me? Like I don't know why did I ask that question. And she told me like actually it was just 10%. Then I asked her what was that 10%? And she told me like, oh, it was just for sex. Yeah, then because of that, I think it kind of broke me again. After that relationship, I really thought I lost everything because firstly, I wasn't close to my parents, I wasn't close to my brothers. I've lost something that I treated as my world. It was so lonely to just continue on with life. The natural thing for me to do is to go back to those vices, but with more intensity. So I did try to drown myself with alcohol, smoke, vape until I get really high. Most of the stuff didn't really help, except maybe like gym, it helped a little bit because it got me having like feeling pain. But I think even after doing all these, I really couldn't like it was still so painful in my heart. I think it was just one fine day after like 6 months where I just had the thought, oh, actually I was a Christian and I am still going to church, except I'm just sleeping for 5 years in the current church because I really just didn't like my parents and I just want to be rebellious. I think it was God telling me like, you're a Christian, why don't you come back to church? Why don't you just listen? That was when I sat down for the first time, not to sleep in church. I listened to the sermon, and because of that, my heart started to change. And then at the end of the service, the surprising thing is that the pain in my heart was completely removed from me. After joining a cell group, it was another 6 months that I realized actually it wasn't enough. So what else do I have? How do I seek God? What is this God that we are talking about? Like I really wanted to understand like this whole thing about God. One of the reasons why I want to come back was also because I want to understand what's a godly relationship, because I've experienced all these relationships and it hurt me so much. It got me seeking after God again and again. And then that's when I started to join this course called Antioch Campus. Initially, it was just to make friends with my cell group members because I think a lot of them were JC students, and I wanted to find like a common ground for us to kind of converse and grow closer. It went from just to make friends, just to get closer to my CG community, to actually experiencing God himself lah. So on the first session of Endel Campus, it was talking about how to discern God's voice or how to listen to God's voice. We were in different groups, and then we were just praying for one another, and one of them in the group was actually prophetic. She described me as me at the front while Jesus at the back, and Jesus was cloaking me, crowning me, and also weeping, tearing, and then saying I'm so proud of you, son. And that was when I kind of broke down, because never has anybody kind of told me that. And then when I was praying on my own, God showed me a flashback of memories. It's like a roll, a camera roll, where every single part of my life was in that. I just could see that from young, when I was maybe a baby crawling on the floor, cycling, or even doing whatever that I was doing bad. Jesus was always beside me. That was when I really broke down, because all my life I've thought wow, I've lost my friends, I'm not close to my family, I'm not close to people at all. God showed me that I was never alone. He was always there for me, and he didn't give up on me lah. Yeah, and that was when I think my life truly changed when I came back after a year of coming back to God. At the end of Endel Campus, about 5 months later, there was a map that was laid out, and everybody went to different areas to pray. And then I realized that when I was praying, asking God, God, what's this? Where should I go? I think at that point of time, I was also trying to find my purpose of living in this world. And at the same time, I met God, right? Why don't I just ask God? So I opened my eyes and I saw everybody on the floor already. And I'm like, damn, where am I supposed to go? And then I thought missions was all about overseas, all about other countries. But actually, missions applies to Singapore as well. And I had the thought to go to Singapore, but I'm not sure, I'm just a new Christian. I'm trying to figure out stuff. At the same time, I kind of got 3 different visions from God. One of which is me being a worship leader. And it was just fulfilled lah. Even though I think that I'm not good enough, I do not know enough Bible verses. I don't even remember when was the last time I really sung on stage. I was the only poly student in Endel Campus. Everybody was JC. All these Christians are so smart. They're all memorizing memory verse. Psalms 151 says that this. I think it was just a challenge for me lah. I think always feeling inferior in the midst of the Christian circle, because of how far I've pulled back from Christianity and entirely through whatever knowledge that I had. I had about a time frame before I went to army. So I was just thinking maybe I can use this time to kind of just seek God a little bit more, go for a course or something. So I had 3 things in mind: IDMC Uni, Tong Ling Bible School, and DTS. So basically the first one was of course Tong Ling Bible School, because it was one of the shortest ones, and it was also talking about missions, which is something that I really want to know about lah. I called Tong Ling Bible School. I asked them if I'm able to join them. It was already 3 weeks in, and then they don't recommend me to join. So I guess that was a closed door for me. So I closed that door. But then I didn't really feel anything of IDMC Uni. So I thought it was DTS. But I didn't believe, because DTS was 6 months. And at that point of time, after we graduate from Polytechnic, it was, we don't know when the letter will come in, maybe the letter will come in when I register for this course or whatever, then I'll be halfway through, right? And then I'll just think that it's a little waste if I don't finish the whole course lah. I prayed to God, and at the same time also there was this girl that that was going, and I knew when relationships or anything with emotions is stirred, right, it would be no good lah. So basically what I did was, there was this one night, I was like, no way God, I need a miracle for this to happen. There was this one night that I just drank a cup of water, and it was empty, and I placed it on the table and said, God, if you really want me to go, right, because all these circumstances are against this DTS itself. So if you really want me to go, right, this is an empty cup. Fill it to half if you want me to go, and fill it to the brim if you don't want me to go. I guess I was just expecting a miracle. I remember I woke up in the middle of the night. I saw the empty cup filled to half, and then I drank it up, and I went back to sleep. And then when I woke up, I was like, whoa, what just happened? I guess that was one confirmation, but of course, it wasn't enough lah. So I think I play games in my head, and okay, God, if this car goes faster than the other car, or then I'll go. Then it's a yes for me. Or if this plane goes up or goes down, it'll be your confirmation for me lah. And I did that for a few times, and that was my confirmation that I'm okay, fine, God, I'll just go and then we'll just see how it goes. The total cost of that whole thing was 9.6K, and I didn't know how the heck am I supposed to raise these funds. People tell me to write newsletter. Yeah, what newsletter? Who am I going to send, right? Like, how many people am I going to send to receive like 9,600 funds? And I barely even know anybody when I just came back to Christ. But I think it was just doing it in faith and then just sending it out. And my parents sent to their friends. I sent to some of my CG members. My CG members sent to their parents, some of their friends. And then I guess it magically just like collated, and it was 9.6K. When I went into the course, I was also still a new Christian. I had a lot of things that I need to surrender to God, need to bring it to God. Because of that, I had a lot of issues with authority, because I've been in a leadership position. So I always think that, these leaders really don't know how to lead. And they don't even care about your feelings. They are very oblivious. Yeah, but I think over the time, like, I went through this whole thing, and then like God really helped me, like taught me how to surrender to Him through the course lah. There were a lot of other things that kind of happened throughout it lah, like me disobeying them, forcing something with the girl I like. And then I think because of that, we kind of broke a rule in that school, crossing boundaries and then realizing that it was wrong. And God pulling us apart. We felt the conviction from God, and then afterwards we kind of like pulled out of it and just journeying for like by ourselves with God for 2 years. Because of this emotional roller coaster, it was a headache for me. I didn't know how to resolve it. I almost didn't graduate from the school because they said that my heart posture wasn't right. I did not understand what that meant. But I just tried my best to figure it out with God, figure out with the people around me. Yeah, there's so many different things in DTS that I went through. That was the time of my life that I felt the worst, but I felt the best, because I know that was when God really cleansed me of many of my different sins, anger management issues, doubting leaders. Yeah, just like smoking, vaping, drinking. I think it was just like free. I just felt like I was free from it. I did a module called Father Heart of God, and because of that, I wrote a letter to my parents, and then I passed it to them. I think I was pretty shy, so like I just slipped it on the table, and then after that I left. Yeah, I texted them and they said they'd read it. What I remember was at the end of my DTS journey, one of my friends, he was a non-Christian, my very best friend, and he came on my graduation, and after that they were praying over me. He saw my dad like weeping. It was just so hard for them because my brothers at that point of time was also very everywhere. So all three of us really left the faith. We were just like on case doing whatever that we want to do. But then like after 5 years of prayer, seeing how God restored the relationship with us, with me and my parents, and then just how I'm so passionate for God again. I think it was like a moment for them to be happy about . I think I was very like anxious about at that point of time, because I didn't know when the letter would come in. I was in Singapore for 3 months, the first 3 months of the thing. And then I was just like, okay, let me just write a deferment to the army. They called me and then they said, actually your deferment failed. They're like, oh shit. So am I supposed to go army soon? The next thing that they said was actually, and they don't even need the deferment, because actually your army starts on August. And the last day of my school was the last day of July. So I was like, oh, that's crazy, me doing this in faith, and then like God delivering it because of how faithful I am, even though it was just like, okay, I'll just take the leap of faith. For me, initially, it was me and 2 other friends from cell group that went for this course. And that was when we all became on fire for God. God has used the 3 of us to spread the fire across our whole cell group. So we have about 20-something people. Yeah, over the years, people come, people go. But I think everybody caught the fire of God. They continue to spread the fire of God across the world. God is really doing amazing things through just one life being saved and one life being on fire for God. Even though it may not seem like it means a lot. Maybe my testimony isn't good enough. But I think like through all this inferiority, right, when we break out of that, God uses that so evidently. Yeah. Afterwards, I went into army. I think army was pretty bad. It's just insane that I went through a 6 months course with a bunch of Christians, and then afterwards, like 10 days later, I'm thrown into a place full of non-Christians. How do I even share with them what I've experienced? How do I even process this thing? I don't know. I just let God flow. Afterwards, I went into sergeant course, and then it was great. Then moving forward, I went into Tekong to be a Tekong sergeant. So yeah, I had a really bad time there. I was doing so well that I was promoted to platoon sergeant. I replaced the current platoon sergeant. The platoon sergeant guy, he hated me. Initially, he did not have a good time with the superior, but because of that, it became I'm in the middle. So the guy keeps hitting me lah. Yeah, so basically what happened was that I was assaulted in the midst of that. I was only doing what I knew was best, and I was doing my best. And I wasn't even trying to be a platoon sergeant or like try to step on my head lah in that sense. So like, why is this happening, right? One fine day, I was the leader, and then because he got demoted, so he became one of my underlings. He kind of told my other friend that he won't be sending the recruits back to the bus terminal. So I was like, okay, like why can't you just tell me? I'm literally in front of you, right? So I just said that lah. I think because of my tone, he got angry, and then he walked towards me, about like this close. He threatened me and be like, hey, why you got problem is it? You know, army people, we speak very, very fierce. So it may look like it was kind of me trying to pick a fight, maybe. Yeah, basically he kicked me. It was like, what the heck? Like, why do you kick me lah? And then at that point of time, there was a pause in time. So it's like a game. So then I had like two decisions to make. Like decision A is to punch him and then go to detention barracks and then delay my army for I don't know how many months, and then afterwards also have a problem finding job in future. Or like decision B, which is to scream for help, like just to scream and then to garner attention from people. And that was what I did lah. So I pressed B, and then after that I carried on with my game. Yeah, I basically screamed like, oh, and then after everybody just pulled us apart. And afterwards we went through an investigation. At the end of the investigation, the result was that nobody saw him kicked, but there was 60 people in front of us. How did nobody see lah? So it was pretty ridiculous, and I felt like, God, like I'm really trying my best. I'm really doing just what I'm supposed to do lah. And then like this kind of thing happened. Then okay, then after that he's not punished even properly, and then afterwards I need to deal with whatever responsibility that I'm being placed in. But then what's worse was after that, right? The results came out. Him getting 7 extra and not going to detention barracks. The worst thing was that when the superior said it, like the whole friend group, they stood up and they were like, yay! It was like, what the heck? That was straight up disrespect to me lah. One of my superior that was supposed to plan for our duties he's friends with that guy. Even though the guy had 7 extras to sign up. Extras basically meant that he must do public holiday duties. But then he did not do a single public holiday duty. Guess who's the one doing the public holiday duties? It was me. I was supposed to get like entitled off because I did public holiday duty. But then they said the guy purposely said, oh no, you cannot take off because you were already taking too many offs. But I'm like, okay, why don't you do the public holiday duties? Yeah, which is pretty ridiculous. So at the end of my tour on the last week, this supervisor, he put my duty on the Friday, which is the last day of that lah. Which means I need to extend my duty to the next day, which doesn't make sense because I'm already leaving the island. I'm already leaving the island for good. God did say that we shouldn't take revenge, but like God did not say that we must be bullied by the people out there lah, right? So then I stood up, and then after I walked to my direct superior. He's very, very nice to me because I do all his work lah. I told him, hey, Jake, like, don't you think this is a bit ridiculous? Because I've been doing all the public holiday duties, right? And I've been doing all your work, right? I've been doing your in-check work. I've been doing my platoon sergeant work, and a sergeant work as well. And I'm even taking care of the recruits, right? And I'm even sleeping every single day, almost 1 a.m., right? And then you're telling me that you want me to do the duty on the last day. I think it's ridiculous lah. I tell him like, if this is not resolved, right, I will just report it up to headquarters or like even MINDEF lah, right? I mean, I've done it once, I can do it again lah. And then he'd be like, okay. Then after that, he just settled that whole thing lah. Yeah, so that was my army. It was quite bad, quite rabak. At a really, really bad time. Yeah. In secondary school, I went up the leadership position, and then afterwards I kind of misused that, right? So I kind of swore that I wouldn't take up any leadership position again, solely because I really regretted it and I didn't want to be manipulative anymore lah. And then I think in the midst of army, like God gave me an opportunity to lead again. I was super like, I didn't want to take it, but like I'm like, okay, like God, you asked me to do it, sure. That was really my first step to really coming back to leadership. God really loved me lah, and no matter what I did, like God was always there, and God does not shortchange us lah. He gave me back leadership roles in the church, and that's my journey right now lah. Is to grow, is growing in that. Everybody goes through different things, but I think that one thing that I really wanna share is that we should all like ask God, ask and you receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door shall be opened to you. At the start of my faith, that was what I kept doing. Like, even though I may think like, what is this spiritual nonsense thing that you're talking about? What, you pray to God and after God will give you something, right? Like, what's that, right? But I think when I actually did it, when I actually tried, even though I may not know what's the circumstances, what are the conclusion in that, what's the point of that, right? But I think through that, God really helped me to go through different things, and God really gave me so many different things that I've already asked, from friendships that I thought, like, after I lose all my friends, then yeah, friendship always like that, always, it's never permanent, but because I asked for permanent friendships, God gave me permanent friendships. Because I asked for my family to be restored, with my relationship to be restored with my parents, then I was given these kinds of things. And then let's say, for example, in DTS, I asked for wisdom. I asked God to humble me, and then He gave me opportunities. Like, I get to be humbled, or I get to be able to grow in my wisdom, grow in the faith itself. Yeah. So if you were to ask me how can I encourage you, I would think that, you never try, you never know, right? Just ask God, even if you don't ask God, why don't you just go to a church, If you don't understand why are you going to church, then you ask your Christian friends, why are you going to church? Maybe they can explain to you a little bit, or even go and research and ask, and just find your answers, and then the Lord will really speak to you. I believe that God speaks in so many different ways, not just in the Bible, not just through people, but even through like storybooks that you may not think that is Christian. God still leads you to specific places that He wants you to be in, and in God's perfect timing, things will happen. What you ask will happen, and yeah, just you being happy, you being restored again, you being able to see God's love will happen.